ride it, and always to ask an adult to come with you or walk or ride. This is all about bikes. I think it is good. If you're small, you can ask an adult to help. And when you can ride a bike, it's easy, and that's all about my story. God bless you and abundantly upon you. Okay, what do we give 3R8? Okay, right. Why'd you give a P?
He was basically
Okay.
the most part of
All
the
right.
test.
They just moralized a little bit at the end.
Yeah.
Now,
I gave him an S because third grader.
okay. Our group gave this a P just as an example that it drifted somewhat at the end.
Yeah.
But you know, why are we doing this? I gotta give my standard response. Why are we doing this? To help the child. So let's say somebody gave it an S and somebody else gave it a P. Okay? Let's say the person who gave it an S said to the child, you know, you were really focused, and then let's say they knew the child's baseline, and perhaps before they weren't focused at all. So let's say they used it as a teaching moment, said you were wonderfully focused, I'm going to give you an S this time. But you know, that's really nice what you said at the end, but it's nothing to do with bikes. So next time, if you do that again, you'll probably get a P. So then you watch for that.
P better than an S?
No.
No, P
No, that's what they're going to
progressive.
ask you. Oh, is that better?
Then they need a focus. But let's say somebody else takes the same paper and they've looked at this child, and this child has been progressing quite a while, and they feel like, you know, this should be a teachable moment for this child, and they say, instead of saying I gave you an S, let's say another teacher says, you know, I gave you a progressing. This is really focused, but that last line is not focused, so that's why I gave you a progressing. Was it a teachable moment either way? Yeah. See, that's the difference between us and a big standardized system. Our point is not so that everybody can put this in one place and have the exact same way of looking at it, but it gives us the language to help the child. So if it's borderline, remember somebody said, can I give it a P plus or an S minus? You have to look at the rubric elements and think of that child and look at it relative to the whole paper. Really, for third grader, this paper is wonderful. So maybe this is just one teachable point because you always want to have some area that they can grow in. But let's say this paper had so many problems to focus on, then you might not go there if it's borderline. You see what I kind of mean? I mean, we want to look at it in a standardized way to some extent, but there's always going to be some give, and that's why teaching is an art as well as a science. But we gave this a P because we felt like she drifted at the end. And we had a hard time finding the P category for focus, either they were off or on. Okay, this next one is a little confusing, this boy in the 8th grade. Tell us what qualities you think in a friend. First he's putting loyalty, you notice this?
Yes.
Because I had friends that have stabbed me in the back. Then he crosses that out. Then he's going to put honesty. And then he decides, let me just talk about myself here. Because ever since I was little, I've been infatuated with video games. For 8 years, I've been named a game freak. I've never lost any game. My favorite type of game is adventure. I like my friends to love playing video games so I can have a challenge.
We came back to the topic.
Okay, what did we give this person? 8th grader for focus. Clearly, yeah. Here's a person who's not talking about his parents. Okay, about himself.
That's why I was glad she asked the question, because I thought, are they supposed to be writing about something they really know about? Or are they supposed to be doing
This was qualities in a friend. Yes. And this, you know, I spared you the agony, but this went on for about 4 or 5 pages about him and video games. That's probably the problem.
Yeah, there's friends on video games.
Okay, now look at this 3 TT9. She's in the 3rd grade. Okay, I like this one. I like fish and catch a baby and a big fish, and I love my daddy. He's fun, he's funny. I love my family, a dog and cat, and the months, and my birthday is June 18th. What do we give this person for focus? Hi. Right. What are the strengths of this? Yeah, again, any one of these could be developed. The person was trying to think and doing the best that
All one sentence.
Right, so that's another thing when we get to sentence structure that the person clearly needs some help on.
These things I like to do. I love.
Yeah,
I love.
yeah.
Topic.
Right, that was the topic perhaps. focus the person chose, but could work a little unfocused there. So we gave that an I. Now look at this third grader, my baby sister Maddie. This was one of our favorites. The teacher that read this said, "Oh, I found a gem." We were all endeared to this little girl. My baby sister Maddie. Maddie, my baby sister, loves to eat a lot, and she likes to go outside too, and she eats almost anything. She likes to dance and sing. Well, my baby sister likes lots of things. Now I share a room with her. She likes Elmo a lot, and she likes SpongeBob a little bit. And we have a SpongeBob room, so me and Maddie have a little bit of things in common. Imagine for a third grade. So for focus, we gave her. Is there anything she needs to work on? A little bit, maybe with paragraph, and she can organize the paragraphs, but very focused. The whole thing was about little Maddie. For a third grader, beginning of the school year, she did a nice job. Beginning of the school year, this was.
Yeah.
Yeah, she put a title. That was unusual. Okay, let's take a look at what's this person going to do on this perfect day, grade 5. And all these were generated from this conference and from Southeastern. Southeastern submitted things as well. Okay, what would you do on your perfect day? I would go to space and go to Pluto. Pluto is the farthest planet from the sun. Pluto is cold, too. The next place I would go to, the asteroid belt. Asteroid belt is very dangerous because the shuttle might hit an asteroid. Hey, that's appropriate today. Jupiter is where I'm going next. Jupiter is the biggest planet next to Saturn. Saturn's a planet with a ring around it. Next is Venus. Venus is the brightest planet. Mars is next. Mars is a red planet. Mercury is the closest to the sun. So Mercury is the hottest planet. Earth is my favorite planet because I live on it. The sun is not a planet. It's a big, blazing, orange-red star. Moons are everywhere. Every planet has a moon. Earth has one moon. There's one thing in common with all of these. God made them for you and me. God takes care of you when you are sick or injured. God is kind. Okay, why do we give this person for focus? Oh, we gave an I. Okay.
It wasn't totally rambling. It just
Please.
He's not on the top. Okay, so you gave him an I.
He would talk about the things that he would have done on the different planets. That would have been different. But just a list of the planets, that's not a perfect day.
All right. We gave him a P. And our thought was, well, let's say this. How would you help the student? Is the first line okay? Yeah. All right. How might we even tie a little more into the prompt on the first line?
For a perfect day, I would.
Yes. For my perfect day, I would go to space and go to Pluto. Okay. Now, how else could we make a little? What else in here is on topic?
Yeah.
Where does he kind of put in some words that show that he's a
The
little
next
bit?
place.
Oh yeah, the next place I would go. There's some sense. Yep. I'm going next. So we know that he's going to go somewhere for his perfect day. So he's making a little attempt.
Well, the first page was fairly. I would have done a P for the first page, but then he just started.
Well, he could tie the asteroid belt in too. If he said we might, passing asteroid belt, he might take
Right. When you're helping. Yes, when you're helping this person, if you were to give them a P, and by the way, once we give something, the person doesn't have to go do that particular paper over, but you use that for a teaching point, and then you look at the next one and see if you see it reflected. Not that they have to go back and write it over. But anyway, for this, for a teaching point, you could say, yeah, keep coming back to the prompt. On my perfect day, now I'm going by the asteroid belt. But we gave it a P. We felt like he's kind of talking about where he's going on his perfect day, and then he just really gets into talking about the planets and gets a little off. And especially at the end, he's totally off the prompt. Okay, I had one other one I wanted to show you that we kind of got a kick out of with focus. And here's one. I had a professor when he taught us about focus when I was working on my doctorate. He used the phrase from a movie, a wink is as good as a nod to a dead horse. I guess his point was if you totally missed it, you're just totally off. You're off. Anyway, here's somebody who was trying to figure out perfect day. What should I write about? So in brainstorming, they said, well, I could write about going to Wet and Wild. I could write about a pet store, school, Busch Gardens, home, Florida, cats, dogs. These are all things I could do on a perfect day. And then, when they got to the end of dogs, look what happens. What will you do on your perfect day?
I love dogs.
Look what happens. I love dogs. They are the cutest thing to me. They can do a lot to me. They can do tricks, bark, and run very fast. You have to feed them a lot so they can get big and strong. I do not like to see dogs out on the street. I don't think it is right for their master to leave them there on the street. I do not think it is right for them to do. No, I do not have a dog, but I still don't think it is right. Still, how will you feel if your parents left you on the street? I would not have felt happy either. I would have felt miserable. Dogs have feelings too, you know, just like me and you. All right, this person is definitely off the route. Now there are some. What kind of an essay would this person be good at? Persuasive essay. You know, so you can tell them, wow, you really convinced me. I won't leave any dogs out on the street. But you got to get the topic going. All right, so that's a good example of that.